Ladies and gentlemen, the Jimmy Butler trade saga is over for the Phoenix Suns. As we just saw a Shams Charania bomb just drop that he is getting traded to the Golden State Warriors. What does that mean for the Phoenix Suns ahead of this trade deadline where there were Kevin Durant rumors flying around, and now with no Jimmy Butler and Bradley Beal probably staying on this roster, how are the Suns going to be able to fix this team to really gear up, to really perform in the playoffs? We'll be diving into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic, showing your love and support over on the channel, which has been super appreciative. And like I said, the Phoenix Suns are now going to be super aggressive, I believe, in the trade front here after their big target in Jimmy Butler was just acquired. And this changes everything for this Phoenix Suns team as they gear up for the trade deadline, as they still need to make moves to compete in this playoff race, as we all know it. But like I said, welcome back. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Leave a like on the video, and if you do enjoy the content, hit the subscribe button and let us know what you guys' thoughts are on this Jimmy Butler move. Without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into the topic at hand. As like I said, did the Suns dodge a bullet, and what did we see really unfold in front of our eyes here as the Phoenix Suns ultimately did not get Jimmy Butler in their quest of their, what it seems like, year-long journey, even if it was only a little bit over a month at this point of trying to acquire Jimmy Butler. But as we see, courtesy of Shams Charania, the Miami Heat are finalizing a deal to acquire Jimmy Butler, sending Golden State Warriors Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and a protected first-round pick. And if we want to look at the trade in full details, we can see that it was a 5-team trade, ladies and gentlemen, something that you rarely see in the NBA. We saw the Golden State Warriors acquire Jimmy Butler, the Miami Heat acquired Andrew Wiggins, PJ Tucker, who was traded from the Los Angeles Clippers to the Utah Jazz just a couple of days ago. They got involved, sending PJ Tucker over there and a protected first-round pick. Utah, in return, took back Dennis Schroeder, and Detroit and Toronto came in and got involved, taking on Lindy Waters, Josh Richardson to Detroit, and Toronto will be taking on Kyle Anderson. Now, for those trades, with Waters, with Richardson, with Anderson, with Schroeder. We'll have to see ultimately what those teams do. Obviously, the Jazz getting involved to get off the PJ Tucker contract. Miami probably wanting him back on that team for some defense, as they've had PJ Tucker in the past be a pretty solid player for them. Maybe Detroit will waive some of those guys. Utah, Toronto will have to keep an eye on them, or maybe waive some guys on their roster already. But the main story is Golden State getting Jimmy Butler, and it is over for the Phoenix Suns, ladies and gentlemen. They will no longer be in this quest for Jimmy Butler either, even after this season, as we see Jimmy Butler also agreed to a 2-year, $121 million extension with the franchise through the 26 and 27 season, where Butler will be declining his 25-26 player option for this new deal. So obviously, for Butler to basically go to the Warriors, he probably had to agree on an extension, as the Warriors probably didn't want to trade for Butler without him obviously negotiating long term. With him realizing he wasn't going to get traded to Phoenix, it was not going to happen. Beal was not going to get moved. Ultimately, he was going to have to take his second option and go to Golden State. And I don't blame Golden State for wanting the extension guaranteed. Personally, I thought that the Suns may have lucked into a position here ultimately before Butler had signed the extension, as maybe they could have kept Kevin Durant, kept Devin Booker, moved some things around the edges, like we'll talk about in a little bit on some future Suns plans, and kind of ultimately just waiting till next season to move off Bradley Beal's contract, trying to do a 3-team deal with one more season more off the contract and trying to get Jimmy Butler. But now that he's on Phoenix, I don't see that pursuit happening. So the pursuit for Jimmy Butler to ever wear Phoenix Suns jersey no longer will be happening. And regardless of how you feel of that quest, ultimately, if it was going to cost Kevin Durant, like the reports were saying, where he was going to get traded to Golden State for Jimmy Butler, I am happy that that did not happen, as I ultimately believe that even adding Jimmy Butler while replacing Kevin Durant, trading away your best player to add a player that is not as great as Kevin Durant, is not going to get the Suns a championship and not help the Suns and what Matt Ishbia promised in competing for a championship. So I'm glad that the Suns definitely kept Kevin Durant after he denied that he did not want to be traded and wanted to stay here long term with this Phoenix Suns team, as he did not want to go to Golden State. But let's get into some more news. Let me know your thoughts on the Jimmy Butler stuff. But as we all know, the Suns still need to do stuff at this trade deadline, regardless of Jimmy Butler getting moved, regardless of Jimmy Butler getting traded to Golden State. Now the floodgates are going to be open. Everybody saw that big trade go down, but now all those other expendable contracts are going to be available. And I believe other teams are going to get involved. And we're going to have to see what the Phoenix Suns are going to do on that market. So getting into the next point, we're going to be discussing what could possibly be next for this Phoenix Suns team? Now, like I mentioned earlier, Kevin Durant looks like he'll be staying with this Phoenix Suns team, as he has said that he wants to remain in Phoenix. He does not want to be traded, and that's something that I want to hear as a Phoenix Suns fan. Like I mentioned in a little bit of a rant that I've kind of gone on about with some of my friends and stuff, if you traded Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to ensure the Phoenix Suns fans that you were going to get back to a championship with Book and Kevin Durant, promising them that, getting back there from 2021, and you've seen Book and KD work its success without Beal, why would you not want to keep running it? Why would you give up on that for Kuminga, for Butler, for Wiggins, for Draymond? That just doesn't make any sense. So for the Phoenix Suns to keep Kevin Durant, to make sure that they are having him on this roster, I think is 100% what is needed for this team. They cannot let go of Kevin Durant. They need to build around him and Booker. And even if it means moving some more guys around the edges, I think that's what the Suns are going to have to do. And two names that I think that could be discussed are Jusuf Nurkic and obviously Grayson Allen. Now, Nurkic, obviously, like we mentioned, both of these players are making the second most money behind the big three. And if they're not trading Bradley Beal, these next two guys need to be a little bit expendable. Grayson Allen has been pretty solid in his role with this Suns team, but coming off the bench for this squad, in my honest opinion, hasn't been as great in making $15 million, playing a very similar skill set to Booker, Beal, Tyus, and all those other guards. It is just not necessary. The Suns need athleticism. They need length at the wing. They need some more rebounding. And Grayson Allen is not that, unfortunately. When watching the Suns last game versus the Blazers, you saw their closing lineup of just all small guards and wings, and that's just three-point shooters playing 5 out, and that's not a recipe to win games, specifically against a Blazers team who's very solid defensively. Come on, guys. We need some defensive pressure. We need some different type of looks. So a guy like Grayson Allen could be a marginal trade asset that the Suns look to expend, similar to Josh Okogie, where he has some value, where, yes, the Suns would obviously be losing some good value, but need that value in another hole for this team to find success. And with Jusuf Nurkic, like we mentioned on this team previously, got benched, isn't playing for the Suns, sat out with an illness, aired out Coach Budenholzer, making the fourth most on the team. He needs to go. Regardless of what needs to happen, at this point, if the Phoenix Suns aren't going to be trading Bradley Beal, with those 3 first-round picks, you need to use, if not one, 2 of those first-round picks to ensure a Jusuf Nurkic deal gets done. I best believe that a Suns trade involving Jusuf Nurkic will get done in the foreseeable future by the trade deadline. That's ultimately the best bet that I see. I think he is the most expendable asset for this Suns team, and he needs to go for this squad. Ultimately, yes, he would covet more value next season as an expiring free agent, but you can't fully tank and punt this season. You need to make more moves around the edges to ensure to KD and Book that you want to win, that you want to compete with this roster. And then ultimately next season, if the problem still does arise with this 3-guard lineup, with Bradley Beal, with Kevin Durant, with Devin Booker, then you still look to make a Bradley Beal trade with getting a future first-round pick next season, and with Bradley Beal's contract only being 2 more seasons instead of 3. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Like I said, this kind of changes everything for the Phoenix Suns, as they ultimately didn't get their prized possession in Jimmy Butler, but I think it is great that they didn't have to give up Kevin Durant ultimately at the cost to get their prized possession, as that would have been an absolute disaster. It would have made Suns fans absolutely turn their head and be croaking like at Matt Ishbia. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, how you guys ultimately feel. Like I said, Curtis and I will be live tomorrow, and if anything breaks down with this Suns team leading up to tomorrow, trade-wise or anything like that, we'll have a video coming for you guys. Like I said, we'll be live tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific to go over everything Phoenix Suns and the trade deadline, and we'll have a post-game coming to you guys live tonight as well, following this Oklahoma City Thunder game. But like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. I'll catch you guys at the next one, and peace out.